please.
Week's Habari News Weekly with Damon Dipling Ellison. Sponsored by...
You already know the sponsor, Mama Soul's Fish and Chicken. This is going to be Habari News Weekly, brought to you by Habari Entertainment. I'm Dip to the Lean, like always. We'll be talking about the news and everything that's happened throughout the week, but we have Aisha, our co-host, to talk about it. Let's go.
I mean, as we all know, let's just go ahead and get it out the way. So, a 23-year-old airman, US Airman, right? He decorated. He's a senior airman in Florida, and he was shot by the sheriff's deputy 6 times. So, I mean, it's pretty sad, man. The Okaloosa.
It's Florida, right?
This is in Florida. County Sheriff Eric Aiden. He showed the video on Thursday during the news conference that he presented, and they're just trying to say that it's a mess. It's a mess. Let's just say that. Ben Crump has become involved.
He's a lawyer, right?
He is now the lawyer for the family. Roger Forston. He was an active duty senior airman, and he was FaceTiming with his girlfriend. When knocks at the door happened, he asked, "Who was it?" No one responded. The knock happens again. Again, no one, responds to say who it is. So he went to his room and got his gun to go answer the door. And by the time he was on his way back to answer the door, to open up the door, the police knocked on the door a third time and said, "Hey, it's the police." And he opens the door with his gun in his hand, but it is not drawn. It is in a downward position. Right. And he's got his hand in a stop motion, like, hold on, wait. And he was instantly shot 6 times. So, I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts?
It's sad, bro. It's sad. You can't even be in your own home. But we saw a case like this in Arizona, in Ahwatukee. And this was a white man who was getting into it with his wife, a significant other. I can't say for sure. It's a domestic situation is why they came. And he opened the door with his gun to his side. And I think he even went to put it down. And they still shot him. The thing that I don't understand the most is this. How in the country where everybody's screaming Second Amendment, everybody have a gun, buy you a gun. You don't have a gun, you need to get one. That's what they're telling you. And as soon as they see one, they kill you.
Right.
So, I mean, what is it? Do you not want guns or do you want guns? Because what everybody is running around saying is they want guns.
Right.
So why don't
Florida is a big state.
Huge.
On Second Amendment. I gotta have my weapon.
So why isn't there any precautions taken for knowing that people may have a gun?
That somebody may come to the door with their gun.
Especially if you knock 3 times. You
have not announced who you are until the 3rd knock.
It's crazy.
Especially as a black man, you already know what we do go through in this country.
Man.
So if you knocking in a black man door 3 times, you not saying nothing. Shit, yeah, I'm gonna pull up with these. But I don't got a gun. It's gonna be something else that I'm gonna have. Because who the fuck is at my door?
And then to add fire to the flame, there are reports that the police were at the wrong apartment.
Well,
they knocked on the wrong door.
The lady was saying when they was walking up, she didn't know for sure which apartment what the yells and scream was coming
from. But then by the end of their conversation, the woman is telling them what apartment it is, 1401. And what did the police do? They went and knocked on apartment 1401, which happens to be his apartment.
That's her guess who it was.
Right, and that's the unit they went and knocked on.
Right, and what's crazy is that
this
woman wasn't there.
Right.
She was over FaceTime. So they couldn't have been fighting and arguing. You don't fight and argue. You just hang up on somebody on FaceTime if it's that deep. You're not gonna fight and yell and scream. You're gonna fight and yell and scream with someone that's actually there.
Exactly.
So to me, it seems like they had the wrong house. It's not a place to kid, dog. It's the wrong house. It seems like it, but they are saying that they don't think it was the wrong house. That's what the sheriff is trying to say already. So it's going to be a tough situation, man. When I think about the case in Awatuki, they got away with that.
But the state's attorney's office in Okaloosa County said that they are going to wait until the Florida Department of Law Enforcement finishes its investigation before deciding whether or not to pursue charges in the fatal shooting. So at this point, the officer who did the shooting has been placed on administrative leave.
Right. I mean, that's normal. That's typically what they do in any situation.
Which I don't agree with.
But my problem is that, I mean, it's nothing you can do about that. You can disagree with that all you want to. And their union is too strong to ever get that taken away. They're going to get due process. They're going to get to go home and get paid until they find out for sure what they did. And that's cool. You can't just fire a person immediately and be like, this. You have to see all the circumstances of the case.
I just feel like it need to be changed at some point. We've been going through this.
They need to learn.
Decade. And it's always administrative leave.
Yeah.
Always.
Paid administrative
They're going to get that regardless. But the thing is, to me, is this. Any other country, man, if a person has a gun, they back up from that situation.
Right.
And they talk that person down.
They try to de-escalate the situation. But our this was a situation where
do not do that.
No de-escalation was needed.
Exactly. Later. And we that's our problem. They just shoot. Yep. And you can't do that. Dude
opened the door, and that's the first thing he did. He ain't ask no questions. He ain't say put the weapon down. He ain't do nothing. He just shot.
Why didn't he walk away? Instead, I understand that he could have started shooting, but he didn't. So if he thought that the person would come, why didn't you back up first with your gun up? Hey, put the gun down. You haven't heard any shots.
The police officer did none of that.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't understand what's the de-escalation process for the police, but they do a bad job.
I'm like, I know they got one, but they obviously skip over every time. Man. And I really feel like the police department, the police department is the biggest gang in the United States.
They shoot.
And the fact that each police department in each city, in each state, they go through a different training. Not all of the training is the same.
Right. And also,
like it is in the military.
Police this year are getting murked at high rates right now.
They are.
I'm not going to lie to you. They are. So I kind of understand them being scared, but this is the job that you signed up for.
That part.
You can't just say I'm scared and use that for an excuse to shoot public citizens.
Yep.
You're supposed to be the person.
I knocked on his door and I was scared for my life when he opened the door.
Exactly. But if
you knocked on the door, anything could have been happening behind that door. That man could have had a bomb.
Why do they do things like that and go up by themselves?
Exactly.
Why don't they talk to the man? Call the man's phone.
He was by himself?
He was by himself. Just one officer. If he felt like this dude was doing something, why couldn't he call backup? What happens to setting a perimeter and calling backup before you start shooting? But hey, man, this is what they do. And you, like I said, again, they got away with it here with that dude. And he was a white gentleman. Killed him in his home. And somehow, just because he came to the door with a gun, it was all right. So I don't know, man.
But in that situation, each time the police knocked on the door, they did announce themselves that they was police in the video. You could hear them saying police when they knocked on the door. You can see that when he opened up the door with the gun, the police, they stepped back. He
still didn't have, I guess.
And they told him to drop his weapon. He went to go drop it, and they still shot him.
They still shot him. They asked him to drop the weapon.
But at the same time, the police, they had verbal commands for this guy. They took a step back. So in that situation, you can see that being different in why he got away with it, because he did do verbal commands. He did ask them to put the weapon down.
Didn't say it was the police.
Exactly. This guy did not do any of that.
Man, I don't know, man.
We'll just have to wait and see
what happens. I'm not gonna be surprised if they get away with it, because that's what happens. The grand juries or whatever it is, they always they side with the police first.
Yep.
I hope that they can figure out a way to stop this mess, man, because, man, it's ridiculous. I just think it's too many guns out here, period. It's too many guns. Everybody got all these guns, and then we haven't the police haven't taken the precautions to make sure the people go home safe, and the people who own the guns have not been taught any precautions or anything to keep their family safe or themselves safe. They just sell it to them.
Yep.
There should
a lot
be some
of these
classes.
Guns are unregistered. And so many
unregistered. Right, because you can buy a gun from your uncle and you don't have to register.
Or go to a gun show and get one.
I mean, I think they
just recently closed that loophole. But that was
you
an
still
option.
could buy it from your uncle or auntie and something and don't have to do a background checks or anything.
Or somebody in your family could have bought it and said, all right, you know what? I really don't want this no more here. I'm going to give it to you as a gift.
And that's okay. No background check, nothing.